In the heart of the savannah, where the golden grasses sway under the harsh sun, a once proud lion now bears the mark of a gruesome plight. His regal mane, now sullied, frames a face twisted in discomfort. But it's his body, particularly a festering wound on his flank, that tells the most harrowing story. Here, barnacles, those encrusted little horrors, have made this magnificent beast their unwitting host. But how does a land creature such as a lion become a canvas for marine parasites? The answer is as unsettling as it is fascinating. As we peer closer, we discover that these barnacles, commonly associated with whales and turtles, have found an unusual niche. It is said that every animal has an enemy, and for this lion, it appears to be an infestation born from nature's dark humor. What starts as a minuscule crack in the skin allows these tenacious crustaceans to latch on, burrowing their hard shells into the tender flesh. As they multiply, they excrete acidic compounds that not only worsen the wound, but also attract more barnacles, creating a grotesque ecosystem there on the lion's side. Swollen and inflamed, the area is a mashup of infection and decay, and the lion's desperate attempts to clean and bite at the wounds provide little relief, only further irritation. With grotesque tenacity, barnacles continue to thrive, all while the lion's health plummets. Each cluster of these shell-clad invaders serves as a vivid reminder of the indifference of nature. In their quest for survival, these creatures have turned the king of the jungle into a grim example of parasitic exploitation. How does it feel to be both predator and prey, the apex of the food chain hourly turned into a mere pedestal for the survival of parasites? This tragic tale extends beyond the savannah. It mirrors the unexpected consequences of imbalance in nature. In a world where human activity often disrupts ecosystems, we see that even the most powerful can fall victim to forces they never anticipated. We humans, too, can be barnacles, clinging too tightly to come. Under the ashen skies of the savannah, a ghostly figure prowls, a white lion, its pale coat a haunting anomaly amidst the golden sea of grass. But what draws our gaze is not its rare beauty, nor the ferocity that marks it as a hunter. It's the grotesque wound adorning its flank, a nauseating tableau of pulsating decay. Closer inspection reveals the wound isn't just a savage gash. It's an unwilling host, a festering colony of barnacles, their calcified bodies embedded deep into the lion's flesh like some grisly jewelry designed by nature's darkest imagination. This is no ordinary predator. This is a lion ensnared in one of the cruelest ironies of existence, that life, in its endless pursuit of survival, will latch on to any host, even the king of beasts. The barnacles, those hitchhikers of the sea, have found an alien home here on dry land. Their cement-like shells cling with malignant determination to the lion's tender tissue, their feeding appendages rhythmically unfurling like grotesque flower petals. As the barnacles grow, they dig into the lion's nerves and blood vessels, siphoning nutrients meant for the animal's own survival. The once majestic predator is reduced to a limping shadow, its body ravaged by the parasitic invaders. A thick stench wafts from the wound, a nauseating blend of rotting flesh, and the salty odor of the barnacles themselves. As if the sea itself has marked this creature for ruin, the sheer improbability of such an infestation demands explanation. Barnacles, typically marine crustaceans, are more often found stubbornly attached to the hulls of ships or the hides of whales. But here they are, thriving on an apex predator of the African plains. Perhaps the lion waded into brackish waters tainted with barnacle larvae, microscopic drifters desperate for a surface to call home. Or perhaps the larvae were carried inland by some freak environmental occurrence, clinging to the lion's coat like unseen stowaways until they found a vulnerable patch of flesh to colonize. Beneath the cold, murky depths of the ocean, a silent drama unfolds, a tale both captivating and grotesque. Picture, if you will, the hulking, majestic figure of a whale gliding gracefully through the watery expanse, a creature of immense power and beauty. But as we draw closer, the serene image shatters, replaced by an unsettling sight that reveals the cruel hand of nature's relentless grip. Gaping sores, raw and festering, mar the once smooth surface of the whale's skin. These wounds, horrifying and repulsive, are a testament to the insidious invasion of barnacles that have taken hold of this gentle giant. Barnacles, seemingly harmless crustaceans, have latched onto the whale's flesh with an unyielding tenacity. They burrow into the skin, creating open wounds that ooze a mixture of pus and blood, a gruesome cocktail that attracts even more parasites. The whale, in its silent agony, is now host to an infestation that gnaws at its very core. Each movement, each surge through the water, only exacerbates the pain, as the barnacle's sharp, calcified shells dig deeper, anchoring themselves even more firmly. To understand the extent of this torment, we must delve into the life cycle of the barnacle. These minuscule invaders begin as free-floating larvae, drifting through the ocean in search of a suitable host. Once they find a whale, they attach themselves with a glue-like substance, a bond that is nearly impossible to break. Over time, the barnacles grow, their shells hardening, and their roots burrowing into the whale's skin. This process creates a network of lesions, each one a potential entry point for infections and other parasites. As the barnacles proliferate, they form dense colonies that cover large swathes of the whale's body. The weight of these colonies can be substantial, slowing the whale's movements and making it more vulnerable to predators. The barnacle's presence disrupts the whale's natural buoyancy, causing it to expend more energy in its quest for food and migration. The once majestic creature is now a shadow of its former self, burdened by a parasitic plague that shows no mercy. In this chilling tableau, we are confronted with the raw, unfiltered brutality of nature. The whale, a symbol of strength and grace, is reduced to a vessel of suffering, its existence dominated by the relentless assault of barnacles. And yet, there is a darkly poetic symmetry to this struggle, a reminder that the natural world is governed by forces beyond our control, forces that can be both awe-inspiring and horrifying. As we delve deeper into the details of barnacle infestation, we uncover a stark truth in the heart of a forgotten corner of the animal kingdom, where nature intertwines beauty with grotesque realities. A white tiger roams, with fur as magnificent as freshly fallen snow. This creature captivates the gaze of anyone fortunate enough to witness its majesty. However, upon closer inspection, the spellbinding charm of the white tiger is disrupted by a horrifying sight: an extensive barnacle wound, a testament to the cruel dance of survival in the wild. These barnacles, small yet deceptively resilient, latch onto their host with an iron grip. They thrive in environments where there is decay and detritus, feeding not only on the nutrients of the creature they cling to, but also on the vitality that once coursed through its veins. As our focus sharpens on the unsettling wound that festers on the tiger's side, we are confronted with the dark narrative of barnacle infestation. Each barnacle is a tiny fortress, encasing its soft body within a hard shell, making removal a near impossibility. They cluster together in disgusting colonies, resembling a macabre jewelry of nature, but not the kind you would want to display at a gala. Instead, this grotesque adornment serves as a symbolic reminder of how life can thrive in decay. The barnacles irritate the tiger's skin beneath, inflicting pain and distress, while the predator sinks deeper into the cruel cycle of nature's design. This encounter forces us to confront an unsettling truth about the balance of ecosystems. The barnacles, driven by instinct and survival, are not malevolent. They are simply fulfilling their role in nature's harsh economy. As we study this white tiger's plight, we are reminded that all creatures, regardless of their stature in the food chain, bear the scars of existence. Furthermore, we are compelled to ask, what role do humans play in this intricate dance? Our environmental encroachments often mirror the barnacle's parasitic nature, as we too latch onto the world around us, sometimes over-consuming and causing harm without consideration for those who will come after us. Yet, as unsettling as this scenario may be, there's a darkly humorous twist. Just as barnacles adhere to the surface of the tiger, one might say they have found the wildest spa treatment in the animal kingdom. Under the sickly glow of an overcast sky, a pale specter stands solitary in an unkempt field, its alabaster coat marred by an unspeakable atrocity. The once pristine white horse bears a haunting disfigurement on its flank, a patch of flesh grotesquely mangled, consumed by an almost alien presence. This isn't the result of a common injury or disease. No, this is something far more peculiar, far more insidious: a barnacle infestation. Yes, barnacles, those stony, parasitic crustaceans that normally affix themselves to the underside of ships and the rocky bellies of intertidal zones, have found a monstrous niche upon the living tissue of this terrestrial creature. The sight is enough to churn the stomach. Raw, bleeding flesh crowded with those hard calcareous shells, their jagged edges piercing the skin. Every twitch of the horse's muscles seems to jostle this unwelcome colony, causing sharp pinpricks of pain and a faint ooze of fluid that pools beneath the grotesque tableau. How, you might wonder, did this equine tragedy come to be? Hold on to that thought, as we delve into the dark and unnerving mechanics of nature's merciless interplay. Barnacle, a creature often overlooked for its modest size and seemingly innocuous existence, harbors a life cycle as ruthless as it is fascinating. A barnacle begins its journey as a microscopic larva, drifting through the water, its fate dictated by chance and the current's whimsy. Upon finding a suitable surface, the larva anchors itself and undergoes a dramatic transformation, encasing itself in a fortress of calcium carbonate, a protection that also doubles as its prison for life. In aquatic environments, the forest falls unnervingly silent, the usual symphony of rustling leaves and chirping life swallowed by an eerie stillness. Amid the dappled light of dusk, a lone deer limps into view. Its once graceful form is now marred by a grotesque wound that demands your attention, a grotesque story written in blood and parasitic horror. At first glance, it's as though the very skin of the creature has turned against it, a bulbous, gnarled growth clawing its way out from its hindquarters. But look closer, if you dare. These are no mere tumors. What you're witnessing is the handiwork of nature's smallest monsters, barnacles, twisted in their relentless quest for survival. Now, you might ask, barnacles? Aren't those just seaside nuisances, clinging to rocks and the hulls of boats? Normally, yes. But in this sinister twist of biology, these arthropods have found a different host. Warm-blooded, terrestrial, utterly unsuspecting. When barnacle larvae, carried by water or mud, latch onto a wound or any vulnerable spot on an animal, their nightmare begins. They dig in, building their grotesque castles out of calcium carbonate, feeding off the host's fluids while holding the doorway open for a parade of infections. The deer, helpless against these insidious invaders, becomes a living fortress for barnacle expansion. This particular deer is now a macabre spectacle. Its movements are labored as if every step intensifies its agony. The barnacles cluster in morbid architecture, their spiny shells shimmering sickly in the dim light, like a gaudy, parasitic crown. Infection festers beneath the crustacean citadel, the skin around the infestation mottled in hues of